Alright, let's get straight to the need to knows. This is the Huawei GT Runner. It is essentially a GT3 with a different body kit and a slight facelift on the user interface, and it is compatible with Android, iOS, and of course, Huawei's Harmony OS. The display is 466 by 466 HD AMOLED with a very good pixel density, and it is bright, so daylight is not an issue. The glass seems to be top secret at this point in time, so if you know what it is, let me know in the comments below. Inside the Huawei GT Runner is 4GB of internal storage for music and app data. It has Bluetooth 5.2 for connectivity, and it's got an IP68 water resistance rating, and the Huawei GT Runner has been certified to meet 5 ATM standards, which means it should be good in depths up to 50 meters underwater, just in case you want to go running underwater. Or maybe you just want to go swimming like normal people. But if you're wondering, there are over 100 other sports tracking features on the GT Runner, so it's not all about running, but it is kind of tailored for it. So on the design front, Huawei have taken the regular GT3 but have stripped out most of the metal and replaced it with a polymer fiber. In fact, the only metal that appears to be left on the GT Runner is the titanium crown and the clasps on the perforated rubber straps and the quick release catches for changing the straps. And Huawei have even thrown in an additional shorter strap in the box just in case you have thin wrists. And this change of materials has pretty much halved the weight of the GT Runner in comparison to the GT3. The Huawei GT3 is way over 100 grams with the metal straps, and this one, the Runner, weighs in at 53 grams with the straps. However, the thickness of the devices remains the same at 11mm. And do you know that legend Sir Mo Farah? He's got 4 gold medals, 6 world titles. Well, he'll tell you the lightweight design of the GT Runner is good because carrying extra weight doesn't help you win races. Anyway, just like a kit car with a body kit, Huawei have made the design of the Runner more aerodynamic. Well, sort of. They've done this by adding ventilation cutouts in the watch lugs. And if you're wondering, the lugs are the part of the watch that holds the strap. And I know it's a strange word, but that's what it's called. So unlike the GT3, the air can pass more easily through the watch and hopefully prevent your wrists from getting too sweaty, like me when I play Call of Duty. Check this out, there's something else quite interesting here about the lugs. There are in fact dual GPS antennas embedded in them, which means better GPS tracking. And in fact, the GT Runner can communicate with 5 different satellites to pinpoint your precise location. And do you realize what this means? It means it's got really good GPS. And in fact, on paper, it should be a lot better, maybe even twice as good as some of those big name brands out there that I'm sure you're familiar with. And this watch does have the ability to use Huawei's Petal Maps software, so if you get lost, you can navigate your way back with your watch and Petal Maps on board. And if you're wondering what Petal Maps is, it's essentially Huawei's version of Google Maps. Now let's talk about the sensors on board. There's an accelerometer, a gyroscope, a geomagnetic, and an air pressure sensor, and Huawei have overhauled their optical heart rate sensor array on the back. And they've done this by adjusting the curvature of the back plate to reduce light leakage, because essentially what an optical sensor does is beam light through the surface of your skin into the blood vessels, and then it measures the changes in blood volume each time your heart beats. Now, if half the light leaks out the sides whilst doing a reading, the readings become less accurate. So, long story short, the shape is better, making the readings better and more accurate. And Huawei have taken this even further and reworked the layout of the optical sensors as well. There are now 8 sensors in a circular formation. That's double compared to the GT2. And I'm told this new setup makes the watch almost as accurate as a chest strap heart rate monitor. And if you have one of those, ask yourself this: can your chest strap monitor talk to you? Can you take and make phone calls with it? Can it play music to your earbud, guide you through a forest, tell you when the sun will rise and set, or what phase the moon is in? Can it tell you the time? If the answer to those questions is yes, then that's one hell of a chest strap monitor you got there. I'd like to see it. Anyway, you get the point. This is a smartwatch and it can do more than just measurements. And Huawei have created a health sync app that will allow you to migrate data from the watch to Strava, Fitbit, and Samsung Health, just to name a few. But you know what the number one problem with a smartwatch is? When out of power, it becomes pretty stupid. And we are limited by today's technology. There is no perpetual power regeneration tech for smartwatches yet. But the GT Runner does have a decent sized battery at 455 milliamp hours, delivering you between 10 and 14 days of power, and that, in the smartwatch landscape, is pretty amazing. And I also like the fact that the GT3 series chargers are standard Qi wireless compliant, so you can actually charge the GT Runner on any wireless charging mat, but the one that comes with it is magnetic, so that's nice. And if you're wondering about charge speed, it goes from 0 to 100 in 3 hours, which in my opinion is a small price to pay for a 10 to 14 day battery life. And I have been using the GT Runner for quite a while now, and I've started to notice some things that I really like about it. For example, the dual functionality on the crown to quickly access the menus and scroll through them without having to touch the actual screen. So if you're wearing gloves or if your hands are wet, this is going to be really useful. Something else that I think a lot of people will appreciate about this watch is the 24/7 heart rate tracking and the SpO2 tracking, which can also be done 24/7. And something that I find really interesting is the feedback that you get from the Huawei Health app. There's a lot to analyze here, but something that caught my eye is the sleep data tracking. I found this particularly interesting because sleep might be more important than you realize. Check this out. Did you know that every year when we lose an hour of sleep due to daylight savings, the risk of having a heart attack raises by 25% globally the following week? And that is a scientific fact. And I didn't research it myself. I heard Tony Robbins say it on the Impulsive podcast, so it must be true. Anyway, it was good to see this because at least I know I'm doing something right. And I know I should probably run more, but why run when you can play laser tag or go flying a kite or doing any of the other 100 plus activities that are preloaded on the GT Runner? But in all seriousness now, this watch really is tailored for runners. The tiles on the home screen are custom made for this particular watch, and they're going to be very useful for any of you guys out there who take running seriously. Even the default watch face on this is perfect for runners. It's got a bunch of complications which you can tap and open up stats straight from the home screen without having to scroll left or right. So I think that's fantastic as well. You can of course customize the watch faces a lot if you want to, and honestly I could be here all day showing you all the settings and menus, but I'm not going to do that in this one. Instead, if there's any questions you have about this watch, let me know in the comments below. I reply 99.9% of the time, which is around the same percentage of people who watch my videos but don't subscribe. So if you could help me out with that, I would really appreciate it. It'd mean a lot to me. And if I get enough questions, I will make a video answering all those questions. So go ahead, do that now. And if you guys are Huawei fans, you might enjoy some of these other Huawei videos I've made recently, like this one, the Huawei Soundjoy. That's an awesome speaker, and I believe you can get a discount on it if you buy it with the watch. Anyway, appreciate you guys. See you in the next one. Don't be late.